So if you're a feminist and you're on a march and you want that to become a movement, you have to move people behind a single vision of what you're trying to achieve. I'm trying to say, look, I speak for some people who can no longer have a view. I'm not trying to achieve kind of change in the world. Do I want us to have Brexit? Yes. Do I want us to have Theresa May? Of course. But I don't want a single thing to take a movement forward. And that's what the feminists should be doing with
Oh la la. Imagine being a feminist in 2024. I mean, what does that even mean? You know, when the feminists have achieved so many goals over, what's it been, like 150 years since the feminist movement started, the suffragette movement. And it's like everything. Every time they've achieved something, there's always another step to take. And Katie Hopkins, we're back here with Katie Hopkins today. Here she's speaking at the Cambridge Union. This clip is several years old, but with Katie Hopkins, everything is evergreen as far as I'm concerned. She is just a fantastic woman. She speaks her mind. She's not afraid to go out on a limb. She has paid the price. As all of you know, she's paid the price, like literally paid the price. She's lost a lot of for her outspoken views, and she's got a lot of hate over the years. So here she is at Cambridge Union, talking to the usual libtarded leftist students that infest the universities these days, even the prestige universities in the UK, such as Oxford and Cambridge. I've done previous videos with her at Oxford Union. And yeah, these people, they just need a slap upside the head. Anyway, let's get to the video and see what Katie Hopkins has to say in response to ludicrous questions from these out-of-touch students.
Hi again.
flammable sweater.
So one of the first things that you talked about was kind of what you say is the kind of acting mistakenly from the pussy marches.
Oh, yes.
And the fact that they all had different aims and it was kind of all over the place.
Frustrating, yeah.
But then you talked about yourself as someone else who wants to try and make a difference and said that you don't especially value having a singularity of focus or any specific aim.
Yes.
When you say things like that, which clearly contrast so deeply in the same sitting, how are we supposed to believe that you have any coherent understanding of your own ideas? Or is it just that you want to provoke people? Is that the aim? Because if that is the aim, then why don't you just say that when you're so free to say what you
Of course,
think?
and I think it's a really well put question, probably the best one. I think it's well put together, but I feel that so if you're a feminist and you're on a pussy march and you want that to become a movement, you have to move people behind a single vision of what you're trying to achieve. I'm trying to say, look, I speak for some people who can no longer have a view. I'm not trying to achieve kind of change in the world. Do I want us to have Brexit? Yes. Do I want us to have Theresa May? Of course. But I don't want a single thing to take a movement forward. And that's what the feminists should be doing with their pussy march, if they want to. It's not enough to have a board saying my vagina is made of steel.
What do you think they should be uniting behind? But also,
God knows, I don't even know. I mean, for me, feminists don't understand the fact that we do have equality.
Yeah, very good point. So apparently Katie Hopkins was saying that, yeah, if feminists want to make a point, they should make a specific point and focus on that point. She's not a feminist. Anyone who knows Katie Hopkins would say that she does not describe herself as a feminist because feminism is a ludicrous, preposterous proposition just on the face of it. It assumes that there's some sort of equality between men and women, that men and women are somehow the same thing. We're just interchangeable units, interchangeable economic units, especially in today's world. And that the whole world that led up, to the civilization, the Western civilization that we have today, could easily have been created, could easily have emerged the same way if women had been in charge, or if women had been heads of families, or if women had gone to work in the coal mines and won and fought in wars and all that. And on the face of it, it's simply ludicrous. What kind of argument is there to make? It's outrageous, in fact. So Katie Hopkins was just pointing out that the feminism, if it still wants to achieve something, which of course it does, because it can't stop. There's always more work to do, as the liberals say, as the leftists say. There's always more work to do. There's always more improvements to make. We can make the world a better place. We can create a utopia on Earth, heaven on Earth. Yeah, no. as they say, as the old saying goes, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And that is directly where we're going right now. Straight to hell, perhaps good intentions. I'm a bit cynical on that. I think, yeah, perhaps the people, pussy marchers in the streets with their pink hats on and all that, those type of people have good intentions. But I think they're absolutely being directed and controlled by higher levels of people in power.
They can't get their heads round the fact that we already have equality. Why aren't they marching outside of places where women are oppressed? Why aren't they on the banks of the Med sort of questioning why women and children don't make it? Why aren't they outside the Saudi embassy marching?
Oh, good point. Why aren't they outside the Saudi embassy? Yeah, why aren't they going even to Saudi Arabia? Oh, Saudi Arabia doesn't allow feminists to protest there? Wow, how surprising. But why aren't they doing, okay, fair enough. Why aren't they going to any other Muslim country or any other country where protests are banned or any other country where you'll get landed in jail for saying your mind about certain things? But they're not even doing it in England or America or Canada or Western Europe. They don't, these feminist groups who are railing against men, they don't go and stand outside the embassies of countries which literally have rape culture embedded in their culture. They don't go out. They don't go and protest outside the embassies of countries where feminism would just be laughed at. No, they just go to the street. Instead they end up calling for taking down statues of white guys, of old white men, i.e. the men who created the very society and civilization they live in. But they want those statues of those men taken down.
About FGM. Why aren't they doing stuff about the women that are in trouble? Why is it always just marching around city centres wearing stupid hats?
Maybe because London is a city which has a great deal of publication about what's going on
This was Washington, but it happens in London as well, and Los Angeles, and California, and any of the rich cities.
Because they're using places where
rich people
are definitely currently listened to, and it shouldn't be the case that they are.
But why don't they get up and go to places where they could make a change for women and children? Why do they just stay in the rich places talking to each other wearing silly hats?
Because they want to be
in the rich city, because it's comfy. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because it's comfy, that's right. And who built that comfy city? It wasn't women, it wasn't massive amounts of migrants from radically different cultures. It was dead white men.
I take your point, but women are such a disappointment to me.
What do you think that women should be uniting behind? What do you think would be the best cause currently to bring more equality to a greater number of women across the world?
To basically face facts. To recognise if you want to take a year out of the workplace to have children, you will be paid less than a man who's stayed there working. If you take a year out on maternity leave, you may not make it to the board level of a FTSE 100 company. That if you get employed off an all-female shortlist, perhaps you weren't good enough, you were just the best woman that was there. That if you're on a panel because you're a woman, maybe you weren't that funny. Maybe you're just there because you're a woman who's sort of a bit funny, who has to be told the very funny someone when they're introduced because they're not that funny. I never want to be part of a quota, and I would never take a job off an all-female shortlist. I either want to be the best person for the job, recruited on merit, paid on performance, rewarded on results, or I don't want to be in that position. Certainly not because I've got a vagina.
Brilliantly put. God, she's brilliant.
Okay, next question. I can't embarrass you with that word at all, can I?
Hello.
Shite.
I have a question as well.
You've got a question? Sorry. Where are... Sorry.
Hi.
Oh,
I'll do it after.
I apologise. He totally distracted me asking if he could ask a question, which is lame, because he's also got a seat, so...
Here's one for you. You say that you want to give a voice to real people, and I'm sure that on some issues you do. That's good. But I think the problem is that you use such divisive, extreme language. You alienate people, and as a result, I don't think you do contribute constructively to the problems we have in society, because to do that, you need to be more inclusive, you need to build consensus, you need to rally people around a cause.
If Reddit was a person, this guy is him. You need to build consensus. You need to rally people around a cause. Yes, you do need to rally people around a cause, but building consensus, that's just what Reddit is all about. If anybody's ever been on Reddit, it's like people are afraid to express their opinion until they know that most of the people in the specific subreddit agree with them on that opinion. Because then they get lots of upvotes and they get lots of karma or whatever it's called on Reddit. And, you know, then it makes them feel good. And instead of just expressing their opinion, they don't do that because they're just scared that they will be voted down and shouted down. Katie Hopkins is just the opposite. But this guy, he'll never get it.
Ultimately, I think it's the problem solvers rather than the parasites who are remembered. So my question is, was it all worth it? Was the hatred worth it, and how do you justify it to yourself?
Yeah, I kind of felt like he should get that. I kind of felt like you should get a round of applause too, because I think that summarised the feeling of a lot of people, and I think it's well led, that. So I think fair play. Good. Better than your question. Good. Clapping. Stick to clapping. You're good at it. No, I think your point is pretty much well made. I think, do I want to be remembered for hate? No. And do I see that for loads of people that would be the case? I don't even want to, I wouldn't be remembered anyway. We all know that the next day no one would give a shit. In fact, the same day no one would give a shit. In fact, I did say the other day at my grandfather's funeral, I don't want a funeral at all, actually. I find them to be really strange things where people eat sausage rolls and look sad. But do I want to be remembered? No. But do I think the people that really matter to me think I'm kind of all right? Yeah, I do, actually. And do the people that I work for think I turn up, work hard, do a good job, go home? Yes. So in many ways, the kind of basic levels of things that matter to me are good. And I am hugely encouraged, whilst not seeking kind of validation or something, I am hugely encouraged when people shout out of their car windows, not necessarily rude things, that doesn't happen, but when they shout out, go on, Katie, come on, Katie. When you get 1 million people following what you say, there is validation in that. Maybe it's ego, too, maybe, but I'm happy with that.
Boys, why do you say such extreme things as...
What's extreme?
Here's an example. You once said that Ebola was effectively a form of population control, and you respected it for being...
Jesus, based AF. Ebola is a type of population control. That's pretty based.
Yeah, it was quite...
That's disgusting to most people, Katie. So why do you say those sorts of things if you genuinely want to be the voice of the real person?
So Ebola as a population control, and for you that's disgusting. For me it was sort of an assessment in terms of Ebola as a kind of form of control was pretty awesome. It was kind of a low-level observation. Ebola bomb, when I called the Scottish nurse, do you remember the Scottish nurse that came home that knew she had a temperature but didn't say anything because she thought she'd keep it on the down low? When I called her an Ebola bomb, that was when the police said that they were going to repatriate me from Australia. So I do see that can be offensive. Do I think it was massively offensive? No. Do I think what's more offensive is the fact that we do nothing about it until the point where it looked like it might come to America? Or the point where it came to the UK and suddenly we had a Scottish nurse with it that no one was allowed to criticise. Do I think that's offensive? Yes. Does anybody do anything about Ebola until it nearly hits us? No.
Wow, I don't know anything about that case. It sounds vaguely familiar, but this was obviously a while ago. But Katie Hopkins is so based, so red-pilled, so based. How can you not love this woman? If you're a watcher of this channel, you probably love her too. I know I always get a lot of comments when I comment. I always get a lot of comments when I have Katie Hopkins videos, when I post Katie Hopkins videos, and for good reason. She's based. Yeah, she's brave. She says it like it is. She means what she says and says what she means, and she's paid the price for it. She has been incredibly, she is literally a dissident in the UK. They treat her as such. But I think time will prove her right. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. In the meantime, like and subscribe and leave a comment. It really does help the algorithm discover this channel and promote this channel, and it helps me continue making content for you. And who knows, maybe at 10,000 subscribers, I think I'm coming up on 5,000, maybe at 10,000 I'll do some sort of reveal of some kind. Anything can happen. Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.